Hey, welcome. I just did three heys. I've never done three heys. So let me do that again. Hey, welcome to the Hired AV podcast. My name is Joe Way. I am your host, and boy, do we have a good one for you today. I did three heys. Okay, so now I'm going to have to figure this out. What made me want to do a third hey? So this is going to screw with me all day long. But you know what? That's okay. You know what? Coming back from Infocom, maybe it's post Infocom, where I'm like, hey, I don't know. I'm just a little overexcited. So, but I'm actually really excited for our guest today. Really got to know him at Infocom this year, and seen activity on the HETMA site, and now coming in as a new chair. And so really excited for you to get to know Matt. So please, Matt, welcome to the show, and please tell people who you are and what you do.
Hey, well, thank you so much for having me. And I will start with, hey, how are you doing today? My name is Matt Kaminski. I work at the University of California, Berkeley. Been there for about 12 years now. I started from what was somewhat of a hobby, or I would say operational support for the School of Public Health, and starting to find some gaps and trying to question some of the things and how things were being done. Starting to jump in right away into like the higher ed educational technology side, broadcasting and things like that. Then I pushed about 4 years in that institution. I switched into the High School of Business to trying to learn a bit more about the soft skills. Switched then to the School of Optometry. My first week was the first week of COVID. I was not supposed to be doing what I was doing for the first 5 years. And then all of a sudden, I ended up being the director for the Office of Virtual Learning Initiatives, where basically I had to create an online educational program or executive program online from scratch. Very rewarding. A lot of things really came up from that. And just about a month ago, I just accepted a new position with a brand new college on campus, which is going to be a major capital project delivery in the first quarter of 2026 with the College of Computing Science, Data and Society, which is going to be multiple department are merging into one school, everything relevant to drone, AI, computing science, code, and things like that. So something that is very relevant to what's going on to our society needs, and really hopeful that this building will be really a testimony of what kind of great things we can do in the Yared side, especially on the public institutional level. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. I love that. That was a great overview. I think one of the best ways to get to know everyone at your campus is just work in every department, right? I mean, you're just making your rounds over the years and being everywhere. I did the IT executive leadership thing at Haas this last year. So it's that's a beautiful part of campus up there too. And I'm not familiar with the others, but I can't wait to go back up to Berkeley and see you. We got two UC people on. So I want you to talk a little bit about, because you said something when you mentioned Haas, you said for your soft skills. So talk a little bit about you. I want to take that because I know a lot of people can, the tech is actually kind of the easy part of what we do in a way, right? As long as you got money, you can buy anything. The tech's the easy part. But talk about that progress you made in the career. How have you seen the even, I don't want to say just because you changed departments, but maybe over the progress of your career, how you've seen yourself develop, not only technology, but from that professional side.
No, absolutely. And that's a great question. I think it's all depending on growth and where you want to head. And so my background, honestly, was emergency care. I was a nurse in
Oh,
pediatrics, labor, and emergency room in France. I moved here because I wanted to become a paramedic EMT. September 11 really inspired me to become in the EMS here because there is so many resources and things like that. But because of the societal problems here in the US, where everything costs money for people to get care, and the price of living in the Bay Area, I decided to switch and go into higher ed. I started from the small door, and again, it's about growing right there. So I saw those little discrepancies and things like that. But in a medical field, you work like a team, and you're also like almost like in a reactionary phase where you assess and you address right away. And
mm,
so this is the type of methodology I was employing during my first year at Berkeley. I was pretty green engineer, right? So trying to understand the culture and office politics and or to play your cards well, and being part of a public institution, deal with bureaucracy, right? And this is where I started to feel like All right, I built all this trust relationship. Is going very well. I'm getting a managerial role already within my first year. Very grateful about this, but I was feeling that I was missing something, and that something is the soft skills, right? And how
Yeah.
to like present yourself or to start to put yourself out there and build even better relationship and lasting relationship, negotiation skills, and also presentation skills as well to trying to influence something that you're trying to make a change here and there. And something I like to say about myself is that I'm a positive disruptor. And so having to be able to have those allies, whether it's through HETMA right now, I'm very grateful about this big group, but mainly to not repeat the same mistakes as well, because we all kind of dealing with the same thing on a daily basis.
Yeah, yeah, I love that positive disruptor. Like if I titled episodes, that would be the title, but I don't title episodes. So
Also,
but that I love that. I love that. And just kind of your growth too. I mean, it's the thing is like it's obvious because if I look at like take the awards, I mean, your Rising Star of the Year. We should have opened with that one. I mean, that's I buried the lead, and then but also like and you racked up award after award with your projects you're doing. So let's start with that now because I do want to make sure we end up getting to the project that's coming up and all that. But let's talk about what you finished up. And so you kind of finished up what a 5-year tenure at the School of Optometry, right? And what you've done there. And obviously, it was shown in the awards and Logitech. Obviously, you have a great partnership with them, to kind of pull this off. Talk about that project, what it was like. Obviously, you said you started in that department right at the start of COVID. So obviously, your relationship and what you were going to do there is probably not what you thought when you were going to go into it and what you were going to do. So talk a little bit about that.
yeah, no, that's right. That's a fair question too. I mean, when I started, I was about to do special project, as people call it. It's like it's not IT, it's not AV. It's like you kind of go where it fits because I'm a big generalist. I know a little bit about a lot of things, which made me great to navigate those type of things on campus. But I really wanted to start to specialize into an area, which ended up being educational technology, online education, broadcasting, and things like that. um, I have the proximity with the Silicon Valley, right? I'm only 1 hour
Mhm,
away from the big tech, right? So Logitech headquarters, Zoom, Poly, Dell, and all these people are right there. And so at Infocom, actually the first year during pandemic, I had the chance to be able to go there. And then it was a big haha moment for me where I was like, all those manufacturers are there, right? It's time to build relationship. So beyond just attending happy hours, but also trying to have conversation with these people out there, go into the booth and be curious. And my relationship with Logitech started with the Logitech Sync, I think it's called,
mhm,
or I forgot. It's like that little dongle that plug and play supposedly from 5 years ago.
mhm.
And that specific devices back in the day required a driver on those Mac devices to be able to operate. And it was crazy. It was keep breaking down and things like that. So I started to give a shout out like, hey, can you do something a little bit better? And then all of a sudden I received somebody responded to me right away. And this is where I was like, hey Matt, like we could do an NDA with you, we could work on those things and things like that. So for example, right, long story short, 5 years later, I'm here at EDMA and like you say, swapping the floor with those awards indeed. But it's because it works, and because it's also somewhat transformative for us, especially when budget is a constraint. You have more power to you, and this is what makes the beauty of those things, like it's almost plug and play, right? From again code heavy kind of methodology to switching to Zoom Room. So my main titles for that is coming, a few articles, is pretty much ditching traditional heavy methodology for Zoom Rooms in collaboration with Logitech or any type of like D10 are also pretty good contenders in that area, need boards and things like that as well. So those relationship was born mainly because I was curious, and again that questioned the status quo and positive disrupt something, right? We have a voice, and so let's make it count. And when I found HETMA, this is where I started to to wanting to be more involved,
Mhm,
right? And when those awards were flying in, it also felt like a testimony of the work that I've been pushing so hard in the shade by myself, right?
mhm.
And having this clear recognition from this group and this community was really meaning the world to me. And again, I keep saying the same thing in the group or in shout outs and things like that. But when Mike Peterson was receiving his lifetime achievement and saying, I found my people, I'm not gonna become emotional right now, but it truly resonated with me. And so getting that recognition was really a catalyst of what is coming forward with the new building and empowerment and trust and all these things, but also this mentee mentor relationship that is
Yep.
happening behind the scene that you don't even see it, but it's there. So yeah, this is how I will answer this question. I have very strong ties with Zoom as well, with Felipe, who's running, I think, the Zoom room side of things on a global scale right now. I think right now he just got a new
Yeah.
promotion, and I'm starting to do show floors too. So all these manufacturers are coming on site to visit me. They're going to visit that brand new building. And again, I really want to emphasize the fact that those NDAs don't cost anything. You can try the gear. The approved program is something that is great, but on the other side, you can also work with manufacturer to see what comes up. That's why also that streamline kit, I have had it for about 6 months. I tried the prototype and I was seeing like the outcome and how easy it is and oh, it's working so well. I deserve the shout out. So yeah,
Yeah. I,
very grateful for this.
I love that. You make a great point because it's one that I say, and I'm going to ask a question that maybe you haven't thought about, but I'm going to front load it here because you made the point, right? You're an hour away from Silicon Valley, right? You've got everything. I'm an hour. I'm a hour southwest flight from Silicon Valley. I'm in LA. I've got every major manufacturer here as well, right? They have some type of Western regional office. We have those abilities to, obviously connect with our manufacturers, but also go and meet them, right? And that gives us, I would like to say, somewhat of a distinct advantage in a way, right? Because we have that. And when we founded HETMA and BC and I founded, we said, he's a Vanderbilt and he's in Nashville, right? Same thing. Everybody has some type of headquarters around there, or at least has a rep that will come and, see them, and they can, do lunches and talk product and engage at a high level. Also, to be honest, it doesn't hurt to be with a name like Berkeley or Vanderbilt or UCLA or whatever, right? Those things help. What advice do you have for those other schools? Maybe, community colleges maybe don't have that access. How can they get the same thing and get those NDAs, get those direct relationships? Maybe it's something you hadn't thought about, but how can we take that and that power that we have that just comes naturally, to be honest, right? That's
Yeah.
you still have to take action, right? It doesn't drop in your hands, but there is something to be said about that. What advice can you give to others? And is it leverage off of us, do things like that, partnership? What are your thoughts on that?
There are a few things that I'm thinking about out straight when you ask me this question is committee of practice, right?
Mm,
And how can you be involved and start to raise those questions? EDMA is already a pretty good leverage. I mean, bigger than Berkeley, I would say as well, because you have thousands of members globally, and the brands or the manufacturers will be able to see the impact directly, and have such a great influence. On my end, where I was starting to dig and trying to see, like, I need to share my story. I need to be able to have people help me, but I can also help them, right?
mm,
It's like a puzzle that comes up together. So when I found you, that was awesome, right?
mhm.
7 months ago, and I was just like, all right, full throttle. I'm willing to be invested because, again, it's a win win situation here. On my end, right, beyond the Berkeley leverage and that brand, right, those community of practice, whether it's internal or within community colleges and or higher education groups, you can raise your voice and have a bigger impact when you start to share your stories with others. And you will see it will be redundant. And this is where those change makers, right, will be able to make an influence and I would say a more impactful change when it comes up to deploying new technology. Don't repeat the same mistakes and things like that. And you will see a lot of my posts right now is just like CYA at some point where, hey, have you done this? Or do you think about that? It's like I almost know the answer, but I need some proofreading to make
Yeah,
sure that again the soft skills are really articulated in that way so I can go come up even more empowered to make a difference when it's time for me to justify expenses, new technology, or why something will work better than something else. And so those resources are priceless to me and they also don't cost anything.
yeah,
So I think the question the question was, yeah, or to be more involved, it's there is such a small scale. I think it's still being part of a committee of practice whether what it is like instructional design, educational technology, AV professional, IT, or even director roles. There is so many subgroups that HETMA has, and I'm sure you'll find a niche that really fits your needs. But again, don't hesitate to reach out. I think we are going to push a lot of um, working cases right now with Logitech, with Zoom, and things like that that really tell our story and how we did it. And again, I'm willing to be a resource as well for you guys if there is something that you need or would like to kind of get like an opinion on or sharing stories. More than willing to jump on a call anytime.
I love that. I love that. That is great advice. I love that because you're right. Community of practice is natural, right? That's where we, as a collective mind, right, and a collective buying power and a collective power within, And I think we just came away from our committee meet or our member meeting, and Tim had made a comment about, how walking around the floor with the HETMA badge, he's never felt more empowered because it brought in that respect. And he was at a community college, right? So it's like that's one of the things. That's investing in that community of practice, as you just said, saying I'm going to attach myself to this name and be part of that, and it becomes part of your identity. Now you love it. So I love that. It's great advice.
True, and actually to echo this, right? I've been to Infocom, I've been to a lot of conferences where I've been invited to speak and things like that, and I'm social, but I'm not social, right? Sometimes it can be very intimidating when you walk in those spaces and you see like I don't know 150, 200 people attending those lectures, and you just stay in your corner, or you don't want to make noise, or you're a bit shy, or it's not your day, and things like that. Seeing those badges on the headmaster side, like green, like bold green, you can give shout out, you can start to approach people, and these people are your people as well, right? So
Mhm.
this is what I really liked about that as well. That's a great point you just made.
Yeah, yeah, so true. I love that. All right, so now let's start to pivot. I want to talk about the project you're about to do. Right? Have you started your new job, or is it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on my third week right now, but one of those 3 weeks were at Infocom.
I love that. I love that. All right. So you teased it a little bit on your intro, but kind of go in, explain the full scope of kind of what this, new role slash new building and all that, and kind of your plans for this.
Yeah, so I just jumped in as the program director for AV and digital services for the College of Computing Science, Data and Society. It's a brand new college that has been created. It's the first college being built in over 50 years on the UC Berkeley campus, and it's pretty much a merge between different departments on campus, mainly computer engineering, data science, public health, and two or three other research groups. It's the second largest building on campus that is being built, and there is a major capital project happening. I don't know if you're able to share some renderings into the podcast later, or I can share that on a later time. But it's a very beautiful building. It's 5 floors. I think it's 33,000 or 330,000 square foot. Is huge. It's the size of 2 blocks, pretty much on 5 floors. Ground level will have about 15 classrooms, all top-notch technology, where we're going to also leverage automatic course capture and Zoom functionality as well. In that space as well will be 3 studios with top-notch technology, where we'll be able to do stuff like I would say TED Talks on the go, probably some podcasting station like here right now, and the way you listen to us, like sharp audio and very good acoustics. Post production space and the suite. I'm going to also hire a team to support that as well. And then moving up to the second floor or the ground floor, perhaps, will be one, I think it's 200 and 300 seaters amphitheaters. And then for the following like 3 floors, there will be just social kitchens, huddle spaces, meeting spaces, and then on the fifth floor, a top-notch event space that will be able to recharge, as we call it, which is just charge for service with a catering kitchen, 2 large meeting rooms of I think 50 to 75 seats, and a large event space of 200 seats. So that's why when I was receiving these awards, I was saying I heard people yelling roadshow, and so this is where I was like, give me 2 years and I think I can commit it. And especially right with our proximity to the Silicon Valley, I can
Mhm.
also I almost guarantee you that the manufacturers will be interested in sponsoring and either paying some rights to HQ and things like that. But back to CDSS, as we call it, because the name is so long to pronounce.
CDS.
I'm really looking forward to that because it could be a true testimony to A, my career and my journey at Berkeley, and B, set up the standards for the next decade to come when it comes up to AV and EdTech. Yeah.
I love it. I love that. It's just awesome to see and awesome to witness kind of that your move and the career trajectory, and then so now you're positioned to go and knock this out of the park, right? And
Yep.
really
Yep.
take it somewhere. Absolutely love that. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it from, from afar, but also it's awesome being part of the UC system. You always want to still root for, for your groups, and
Yes.
your
Yes.
community, because I think that's great for all of us, great for the state of California, great for your school too, that has such a history of, especially when you talk data science, public health. I mean, Berkeley is, a leader in the world in that. So how awesome to be able to be in that position, and I can't wait to see what you do. And I'm sure you've already got NDAs that you can't talk about in the works
Yeah.
that you're going to be doing some cool stuff. So I can't wait for that. Totally can't wait for that. So that's awesome. That's awesome. So now, along those lines, let's talk about, you came back from Infocom. What let's kind of do a breakdown as you kind of walk the floor, you talk to people. What kind of technologies are you feeling, or a direction where, hey, I want that? And I don't want to say pick out any piece of technology, but the trends. What are you, or where are you seeing it going? Was there any like aha moment where you kind of thought, all right, this is where this aligns with my 5-year vision?
Great question. The purpose of my visit for Infocom was mainly to make sure that what was scoped for that building is actually relevant to the trends I was observing in the on the floor, right? So just to share like full disclosure with you guys, I arrived in and the scope was already done. That was a deal that was done 4 years ago. We got served analog designs for AV, everything obsolete, sold discontinued restaurant gear and things like that. So before Infocom, already on my first, not even onboarded yet, I was already picking up the phone, texting manufacturers and things like that. Question, Shure, Logitech, LG,
Hmm.
ViewSonic, and Legrand, and all these people to just say, hey, something doesn't ring a bell here. And before me going to the consultant and the installer or the integrator, I just wanted to make sure if there is actually a way to turn out the boat, to return items or to reconsider some of those things. And everybody responded present because they knew the level of leverage that I was able to pull in if we wanted to switch the boat and go to AV over IP. So it is something I'm really trying to implement because A, we have a lack of resources. B, we are not able to hire too many staffs because there is a hiring freeze, although it's justifiable because it's a new building, so we need support. And then everything relevant to the cost, how much it's going to cost to maintain. If we heavily relate on analog AV and the signal degrades, and if everything is on the code, then if I don't have an engineer, what do I do? How long those classrooms will remain offline if I don't do anything? Or what's going on with Zoom Room, right? There is so much we could do, right? And because of those NDAs, because of my previously work, this is my fourth capital project on campus. By the way, I just finished a brand new clinic with telehealth, with a school of optometry that will have about 25 Zoom rooms and a state of the art lecture hall and a simulator as well. Um, I just wanted to keep the momentum going. And when I was saying that, all right, computing science, but we don't apply any type of computing science or data science that are really relevant to like something like AV over IP and things like that, I was just seeing already that there's a disarray between what we do and how we do it. And so this is where I'm right now turning the boat and looking into that. So what I did on those floors was really to re-energize source collaborations and relationships, trying to understand what type of new products are there, and making sure that what I'm scoping is future proof as well, because you can get a sense of where the industry is going. But I still love cool stuff. Yeah. Those LED walls are much more affordable
Hmm.
nowadays. I
Yeah.
was also able to get a few glimpses at some NDA sessions as well. So
Hmm.
I won't be able to discuss that, but I can tell you that the industry is taking a sweep, especially for the higher education side, and I cannot wait to see those things coming to fruition. I'm going to give a try to Excite as well as a fleet management system. I think having everything centralized in a way makes total sense. Now, in the matter of how much it costs, I don't know yet. We'll figure it out. But Excite was kind enough to give us a year license through the approved program as well.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a try as well and trying to see where we can land. I'm always fond of Black Magic, but I'm also very surprised with Vizart, I think it's called,
Yeah.
the control platforms. So I'm going to look into this as well for broadcasting. Um, I'm I'm a bit rusty on that side because all the things that I was running online were mainly Zoom webinars and not top-notch productions. But now that I have a studio or two spaces, I'm going to look at some serious gear as well to make sure that the message we're trying to relate globally is also aligned with our mission on how we deliver the content as well.
I love it. I love it. Well, you definitely took advantage of the time there, and I agree with the trends. It's one thing that I want to double click on one thing you said because 100% all the stuff that we saw, I think you nailed exactly where I'm looking as well too. Um, but I want to double click on something you said and alluded to, and that was when you came into your new role, how the design had already been done 4 years ago, and it had already had obsolete, equipment. And this is one of the things I pet peeve. Like I hate this, but it's one of the things about our industry, right? Is like I understand a general contractor needs to get funding, right? And they need to know what this is. So they bring in a consultant and the consultant designs something. Well, by the time it gets even through planning, you're 2 or 3 years in, and then you got to build the thing, and then AV is the last to go in, like that. And I get that there's the way things do it, and then you're sitting here, you're having to change order to death everything because the stuff's not even in, and like I wouldn't even want half the stuff that's designed 6 years ago to be in and have my faculty touch, right? That's it's not the way where things are. So this is one of the things. This is my thing that I've started doing is when there's a capital project, I just say, what features do you want?
Mhm.
And then I'll go, here's the current cost of those features. Don't know, the stuff. And then how many years do you think it'll be till it goes in? And I'm going to do a 10% per year increase to cover costs and new technologies that'll be there. And I go, here's your placeholder.
Okay.
When we're 10 to 12 months out, then I'll design the system. Right. And it's like, but our industry doesn't work that way. So I've started doing it. Sometimes if you get in good with, like I think with us, I don't know if you're the same, like we have the same GC that
Yep.
for all of our capital projects. It's like what usually a lot of large schools do. So that's where you get in good and go, here, when there is one, I'm going to give you the placeholder, but I ain't going to tell you what it is, right? What it is. And at some point, I'll tell you how many network drops I need and power drops, once you need to get those in. So how do you, and either advice or how are you then handling, hey, you got to go to your boss. You go, hey, thanks for the new job. Oh, by the way, this design is nowhere near anything we need to do, and I probably need more money. How do you handle those conversations?
Well, I think this is how I presented myself during the interview as well, and obviously it's I don't want to say it's a lateral move, but you're moving from one school to the other, so you already have those relationship built. I didn't have any relationship within this institution, this school specifically, but I know people that are working in Central Campus or other kind of counterparts that are out there as well. And because I was fresh from finishing my capital project with optometry, I knew the latest and the greatest, right? At some point. Again, I don't want the latest and the greatest. I want something that is reliable, that is budget friendly, and that the adoption rate will be very, very high. So it's all the power to me when I train the trainer, right? And so or I ended up navigating those things. It was just about, all right, before I get started, I would love to kind of see what's going on. And I was just asking the art question also during the interview, right? An interview is not about oh to sell yourself or what you see in that community or where you want to join and things like that. I was also asking the right question. I was like, what is the current state of the school? Always the morale? What's the budget looks like? Any things that you would like to ask me that I may have not answered right and things like that. So I'm also flipping the hard question towards them and see if they arrive to be candid with me, then you can also feel that there would be this trust relationship right on. So when I jumped in, I was not even onboarded and I got access to certain documentation because I was like, hey, I'm going to Infocom. I just want to see what's going on with you guys. And then this is where right away, within the first hour, I was like, the designs look obsolete. It looked like a copy and paste from other institutions or public sector. I mean, something very typical for the industry, right? Um, Again, that's what it is. I had to deal with it. And this is where within the first week I was like, all right, what can we do? How can we simplify and save money and making sure that everything is conducive of what we're trying to achieve. And
Mhm.
so again, it's trying to be in front of the right people, documenting everything and finding also your ally in the industry. So that's why again I was posting those things on HETMA, but also internally with my committee of practice and trying to get a voice raised with weight, right? Because I'm trying, nobody knows who I am. I'm trying to build this relationship, build trust, but also influence them as well. So can you imagine this is not a sensitive kind of period for me right now. I think I can totally handle that. And it's just a matter of making sure we are doing the best thing in our best interest for this institution because who is going to be responsible for customer service and everything else and justify why things are not working in a year from now, that will be me. And so this is what also I'm saying. I'm coming with some weight and I'm hoping that you guys can feel that weight as well.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Um, and I think you and I love how because you kind of pulled this full circle to where you first started, right?
Oh
Building
yeah,
that
yeah.
community of practice, building those relationships up, having it, and then coming in with that trust. You built trust, and now you can show that industry knowledge, right? And walking, it's like almost like you're able to be successful today because of the investments you've put in over years, right? And that's what gives you that strength and to be able to come in and kind of have that I don't know, power, whatever the right word is. I love that. I do have a question because you said your title is program director. So, in that role, tell people kind of what is the scope? Are you going to be hiring AV technicians? Do you do design yourself? What will that kind of look like as the department is built out, or was that already done? What does that look like?
So I think I have a true opportunity to kind of build my dream team and my dream kind of like office space dash classrooms and things like that. Again, not the latest and the greatest, but something that is very functional and that you can have a big testimony. Wink, wink on the project of the year for the next HETMA award.
I see where you're going. I see where
I'm
you're going.
already towering, yeah, but like I need to put myself in those shoes and trying to make sure that what I'm trying to do will be benefiting the community at large, including HETMA, and trying to be telling my stories and things like that. And so I'm still digesting the scope a little bit because there is a lot to scope, right? There is nothing right now. They're starting to hire senior people and we're slowly going down the ladder on the org chart. So right now I'm trying to have a good understanding of what my team would look like. And I think it will be a mix of instructional designer, maybe an engineer, and then two or three educational technology specialists. And out of those three, one will be specialized in everything relevant to tier two up to tier three, troubleshooting and helping out, and maybe having some open office hours to train the trainer. The second person will probably have something relevant to video production and broadcasting, and everything relevant to events management when it comes up to supporting those events. And the third one will probably be the bridge gapper or the runner in between those two positions, along with some post production and maybe some marketing and social media experience. So it's like a multi-purpose space, multi-purpose usage that we're going to have. So I think I need to be able to support any of those. But right now, when we talk about the infrastructure of the building, yeah, there's AV, there's digital signage, there's scheduling, there is marketing, there is communication, broadcasting, Zoom rooms,
Wow.
and also Zoom webinars and things like that. They're also hoping to spearhead some of those online educational programs, the same way I've treated it with optometry. And so I think, yeah, we are in a great position. It's just a matter of finalizing that scope and trying to understand what comes up, which is teaching. So the first year I'm going to work on stabilizing all these things, and I'm probably going to start to hire at least two-person during fall, at least right before the holiday season, so we can start to set the tone for that building coming up in January.
I love it. I love it. That's quick. Yeah, yeah. It sounds like this thing is moving and it's
Very
moving fast.
ambitious, but yeah.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. I do want to kind of slowly move to the rapid round, but I want to ask you, are there any fears of the California budget impacts impacting your project at all, or is it already kind of pre-funded? And how is that?
So it's a little bit of half. I think we have the luck to have a major donor, a named donor that is financing, I think, a bulk of that capital project or even whole project. I'm not too sure yet. And then, yes, we have to see what makes sense. So I can see that there are some caution that is being employed, especially right now that I'm trying to turn that ship to go AV over IP and things like that. Because as you all know, AV over IP sometimes like required a big upgrade on the network
Mhm.
side, which nobody saw coming. So now I'm trying to justify that or being creative. But this is all where now switching to creativity, right? And trying to
Yeah.
stabilize those things, then scale them and have something that is fully supported for the higher ed side and our community. I'm trying to be bold and creative when it comes up to those things. And ends Logitech, again, shout out to them. But this plug and play, everything is ready to go. You can have your installers come in. It comes for a fraction of the cost of a regular traditional AV classroom. But again, my sweet spot will be at 25 to 30 seats.
Mhm.
When it comes up to larger amphitheaters, yeah, I think this is where you could leverage also some engineers that might be in other schools and help you out with the code and things like that. But it's true that yes, those things cost a lot of money, so you have to be very careful. Everything needs to be justified. There is a hiring freeze that I just told you also on campus, but who
Yeah.
knows? There might be other things coming up that we don't know that HR is working on as well. I don't want to speculate, but I'm also hearing, more budget cuts and forced retirements and furloughs and things like that. So, you know, I don't want to live in fear. I think what I like to say a lot, and I've been saying a lot, it's we're switching from one crisis to another, right?
Hmm.
So it's all about making sure that mental health is good and we're keeping business as usual, but with also like a view in the mirror and trying to remember where we come from as well.
Yep, I love that, and it's funny because when I love when you said jump one crisis to another. 'Cause it's always funny when people are like, "Oh, when I get through this and things calm down," things never calm down. You just shift priorities to something else that takes over. All right, I love it. All right, I want to switch now. Rapid round, little rapid
Yep.
round. This little part. These are just miscellaneous random questions that there's no wrong or right answer unless I have an opinion of my own, in which case you might have a wrong answer. Everyone gets the same first question, and that is higher ed is about traditions. So, what is your favorite college tradition?
Oh, the Cal Stanford game for sure. When we go burn that big pallet pile, right the night before the Stanford game, I think it's a pretty good cultural one. Although I'm not too much involved in football, I'm more involved with soccer because I come from France. So again, soccer is football for me, but
Yeah.
football is football for American. But the culture behind that is just crazy, and the fan base is amazing, and it's also amazing to see how the community comes up. It's much bigger than a town, right? It's a
Hmm.
community at broad, at large, and things like that. So this is one of my pet peeve for yeah, the culture within sports here is just amazing.
Yeah, totally agree. And that is a top answer. One of the top answers is rivalry days and football and tailgating stuff.
Yes.
I will agree with that. I think technically we're supposed to be rivals, aren't we? Aren't Berkeley
Well,
and
yes, there is some,
UCLA
yeah, in some cases,
supposed
yeah,
to be
and
rivals?
then in soccer as well, yeah, I can tell that.
Yeah.
But hey, with the same family.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I love it. I love it. So, all right, you brought up football. So, who's your team? Who's your football team?
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I was born and raised in France, but I have some Spanish ties. And as you can see on my last name, I have nothing French or Spanish in there.
Sick.
I also have some Polish blood. Yeah.
All right. But does that mean we're if I say FC Barcelona, does that mean we're
Oh
rivals
yeah, no,
there?
this is a big contingency here with my family as well. I can tell you guys because with family, my cousin hasn't talked to me in 5 years because he roots for Barcelona. That's the only reason why. And so it's pretty funny to me, not to him. There's a lot of pride going beyond soccer, especially in Spain. It's like a religion. Yeah.
Yep, yep. Well, and I'm actually an Aston Villa fan from Premier
Okay.
League, but but with ISE now being there like 6 years or 5 years
Yeah.
now
Barcelona.
in Barcelona, it's kind of hard to not just be around FC Barcelona, right? So, there we go. But I don't actually care for one team, to tell you the truth. But and I actually haven't gone to a game. Some people have gone to games while ISE was there, but I've just been too busy. All right. So one of the other questions I like to ask is about food, and I tell you, Berkeley's got some good food areas. So last time I was up there, I went to a little crab place that was kind of across the street from the hotel. There's a little old bar. And when I come up to campus and I visit you, where are we going? Where are we going to have? What are we eating and drinking?
Well, there's quite some solid things. When we can start with happy hour, right? I love beer. I brew beer in my garage again, and I play soccer with a lot of brewers out there in the Bay Area. There is a place called Cornerstone where there is about, I would say, 30 taps, all local beers, fresh beers, and affordable beer as well. They have decent slides as well. The Offsprings opened the bar when they opened about 7 years ago. And there is always a good scenes out there. There's concerts and things like that. In terms of food for Berkeley, I mean, it's very, very diverse. There is a place called Asian Ghetto. This is where all the students kind of go as well. Very affordable place to eat. There is Italian, there's Indian, there's Thai, there's Chinese. There is a little Korean barbecue next to it
Oh,
as well. It's like a pick and grab kind of style. And then if you want something a bit more elevated, there is obviously this Alice Water restaurant that now I forgot the name. It will come back to me. Probably put it in the comment section. Very, very good food, local food, season menus as well to make sure you have all the freshest and the greatest product. But obviously, the Bay Area itself was a diversity in culture has so much more to offer when it comes up to food as well. I myself live in Oakland, and this is where people say, "Wow, Oakland, what's going on?" But Oakland is so diverse and is has changed as well. Again, gentrification is a thing and it's a problem in our society, but on the other end, with the economy that has been booming out there, there is a lot of things that has been done in a good way as well, hence the restaurants. And I think Oakland was elected one of the best place to eat in the whole nation as well, I think in 2 years in a row, something like that. But
wow.
I really love the Bay Area culture as well. So food, yeah, I'm a big foodie, so yeah.
Yeah. I love. Oh, and I guess I fly into Oakland, so you'll have to pick me up from the airport. We'll have to get, there we go.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I got to tell you one thing about Berkeley. When I was up there, I did not. So here's the mistake I made. So the hotel we stayed at, I forget the name of it, but it was down on that main street, kind of the main where all the students hang, all the bars and all the restaurants, whatever that's called, kind of at the bottom hill. And we had to go to Haas. And according to the map, it's only zero point 0.8 miles. And I said, let's walk it. Okay.
Hey, go
My,
uphill.
all uphill. And one thing is another one of my colleagues who was on in the same program, but he used to work at Berkeley. So John Crumpler used to work at Berkeley and went there and all. And so he was in it and he's like, well, we'll call an Uber. I'm like, for 8.8 miles? Like, wait a minute. And he's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. I'll just tell you that the next 3 days we took an Uber every time. That I never knew you could have so much uphill in one shot. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. But then there's that. And then on the way back, of course, you can walk back. It's all downhill. Your park, you have like a beautiful park and like nature that runs right through the middle of campus. It's gorgeous. Everyone gets a chance to see it. And you don't expect it at a campus that's in the middle of a city. I think that was kind of the cool part about it is kind of having that. I don't know if there's a name for that nature area, but it was
No, I think they made a great job about that and making sure that everything is within the tone of the school and how it looks and things like that. And this is what brings community together as well in a beautiful campus that's right by the Bay Area. In the good days when it's clear, you can see the Golden Gate as well
Mhm.
from there, right? So you can see the whole Bay Area. Benefits of going uphill is you can also have a very good panoramic view of the Bay Area as well. And cycling, I'm starting to cycling. It's about a year right now. Beautiful scenery as well. But you make a good point about going uphill. I'm currently based downtown while the building is being built. And even back in the days, I was looking around the same area. And when I had to go to meet the chancellor or the people or the executive located in central campus, I would come up all sweaty in my dress shirts and things like that. And they were like, "Oh man, you're trying to make a good impression. You are not prepared for this. You prepare mentally, but not physically." So thanks God we have some free shuttles as well coming in
Yeah,
that kind of areas. But that's a very good point. Yes,
yeah.
it's
I
going
couldn't
uphill
believe it.
and it's a little bit steep, to be honest. Yeah.
It is steep. Yeah, it's not just uphill. It's like climbing a mountain. Yeah, I was surprised. All right. Okay, so very last little question here. And so I like to end the show on this is just you get 1 minute. Okay. 1 minute to talk about anything. Pretend this was your show. You can talk about anything you want. You get your own monologue for 1 minute. It can be about tech. It can be about anything. I've had people go so many different directions. You'd be amazed. So you get 1 minute. This is your show, and your time starts now.
So let me see. I think the first thing is really relevant to my experience at Infocom would haven't been the same without finding my community, and how much I keep emphasizing that is because it is true. Again, I was pretty lonely when I used to go to those conferences in professional development, and I think you nailed that pretty well when we saw those bright green signs of HETMA on our badges. You can understand who are your people, and sometimes when you're in this tech environment, sometimes it can be conferred as like the tech bros and things like that, and this is not who I am, and this is not how I do business and how I work and things like that. I like to treat everybody the same way and fairly. So I think, again, to reiterate, the great Mike Peterson is be nice. I always trying to be nice and approach people the same way I would approach anybody. And so I think, again, right now, what I'm about is all about positive change in the workplace. And so I think there is even more needs right now to be more creative with what's going on in the current world. I'm not going to go into politics. That's not my problem. That's not my job, I would say. No, no, it's one of my problem, but I will keep it for myself. But there is so much more to do as a community. And so this is where, yeah, be more involved and trying to see if you can help somebody and have somebody help you as well. I think that's the beauty of that community of practice, and have this mentor mentee relationship is really meaning the word to me. So shout out to that.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. That is awesome. And then the very last and most important question is how can people get in touch with you and connect with you should they decide? And I will drop your LinkedIn in the show notes too.
Absolutely. So you'll see that I'm very active. It's because for some reason I'm not FOMO at some point, but I'm always on my phone. So you can shout me an email, matthew.berkeley at Matthew.Kaminski at berkeley.edu. My LinkedIn, you will drop it out there. I'm pretty active on HETMA. If I have to switch
Yep.
back the notification to see the messages. But yeah, you are guaranteed to hear back from me. This is who I am. I'm also like that with my friends and family. So yeah, I'm here to help you out, and I hope that I will find some of you to be able to help me as well. So thank you so much.
Love it. Love it. And I'm going to give a little teaser. If people made it this far in the show and you're listening to this on Tuesday, June, whatever, 24th, I should know that's my wife's birthday, June 24th, we will only be 1 week away from our own HETMA app. You won't even have to use the Mighty Network. We'll have our, and so you're going to get HETMA notifications. So you'll be able to have a nice chat and conversations right from that. So there we go. That's
Perfect.
dropping. There's a teaser. All right. Thank you so much, Matt. This was just amazing to have you on the show. It was an honor. And of course, everybody, I do encourage you to like and share this episode. Tell 100 of your closest friends. Make sure you connect with Matt. And of course, you can connect with me at Josiah Way on all of the socials. And you can connect with HETMA_org on all of the socials. And Hired AV at Hired AV on all the socials. And of course, according, as always, all the opinions expressed here are not necessarily those of our in respective institutions, sponsors, or really anyone who wants to sue us. And with that, have a great, great everybody.
Thank you so much.